Welcome. This is the on-record portion of the Rockbridge Report. I'm Papa Osei, and joining me today is the Executive Director of the Theater at Lime Kiln, Tony Russell. Tony, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
So first off, can you just tell me about yourself, what you did before you came to the Kiln?
That's a long story. Originally, I'm from England. I was in the medical device business and met my wife, and we relocated to San Diego, California. We were there for a number of years before coming here. And we've been here, 16 years now. So it's been a good 16 years too. It's the longest I've ever lived anywhere. So.
And what made you come to the States from England?
I married my wife. She was an American, and we both worked for the same company. And when we decided to get married, we had a choice. Either we went and lived in London, where it rains all the time, or we go to San Diego, where it never rains. So we ended up in San Diego, so it was pretty cool.
Okay, and I guess you just hinted that you have a business background. So what got you from business into the performance business, I guess?
Yeah, well, I've always loved the performing arts. My background's science, it's biochemistry. I worked in the pharmaceutical and medical device industries, and I was fortunate enough to be able to kind of retire here, so to speak, 16 years ago. And my wife and I tried to do things up and down the valley to help the valley. And when we first came here from California, in San Diego, we used to have a place called Embarcadero, which is a promontory that goes out into San Diego Bay, where they have open-air theater and music concerts, and I thought I'd really missed that. But when we came here, we found the Kiln, and the Lime Kiln is far better than the Embarcadero in San Diego. So we were patrons of that, and at the time I was on the board of the American Shakespeare Center in Stanton, and that's when Lime Kiln had some troubles, and as they went dark, so to speak, and I arranged for the American Shakespeare Center actually to come to the Lemfest Center to do a performance to help out Lime Kiln, and so really that's where it started. And I was a patron, then I started to help them come back, and then I was asked would I be interested in running the place about 18 months ago, and I thought, yeah, absolutely, but I'm not an arts person, I'm essentially a business person, a marketeer, and they said that's what we need, so I'm like, okay, cool. And I've been here since. It's been a huge amount of work, a whole lot of fun, and I've learned a new business, which is theater, which is a tough business to be in.
Okay, now let's go back in time a bit. Can you tell me about the history of the Kiln, why it came about, and why it was founded, I guess?
Yeah, it's an amazing story. This year it is 28 years old, probably older than you, for sure. And it was a group of citizens that got together and said, hey, here's this unique space, and it really is probably one of the most unique theater spaces in the whole of the US. Let's put a theater here. We didn't have a theater, and it has a relationship with WNL, an English professor from WNL teamed up with Tommy Spencer and Don Baker. And Don Baker, who was the original artistic director, also graduated from WNL. So there's a strong connection with WNL, and they, excuse me, they created this outdoor theater in this old Lime Kiln. And it is an amazing space. We've got 3 stages there. The bowl, which is a natural amphitheater, it's a hole in the ground where the audience sit up above the performers and look down. And then there's the old Lime Kiln, which is a beautiful rock quarry with bleachers, and you've got the whole setup there. It's just absolutely tremendous. So these folks got together and decided to put this theater together, and it became one of the jewels in Virginia's Performing Arts Center's crowns. It really was very, very famous when it started. And it used to be that people would go around town saying, hey, have you got your tickets for the Kiln? Because it would sell out all the time. So that was back in '89, and it's amazing when you look at some of the performers that have played at the Kiln, like the Dave Matthews Band played the Kiln, Alison Krauss has played the Kiln. I mean, it's just a pretty amazing place. So that's how it started, and it's 28 years old.
Well, you mentioned that a few years ago the theater went dark. First of all, can you explain what that means?
Yeah, it literally means that the lights went out, and usually they go out because of financial problems. Running a theater is a tough business. Running an outdoor theater is even tougher again, because you're the whim of the vagaries of the weather. A lot of our ticket sales come from the walk-ups on the day. And it basically, I don't know the full story, but it ran out of money. It had serious debts, and so it closed for a very short time. That was back in 2005. And I think it opened up within a year again with a much smaller season, but they'd paid off their debts. And I think it was just a lot of theatres go through that. It's a tough thing, and we've been slowly coming back. And I think now this season and last season we've done as many shows, or we will have done as many shows as they did when they first started in '89. So I think we've got it back to, in terms of the offerings, to what it used to be.
Okay. So on the road back to recovery, you think you're back where the Kiln was?
No, we've got the nose up. We had a very good year last year. Our income was up 20% for the previous year. That's in a down market. And this quarter we're up about 60% versus last year. So things are all the arrows are pointing in the right direction. But we've a long way to go still. Back in its heyday, it used to employ 35 people. Before it went dog, it employed 15. Right now it employs 2. So we've still got some ways to come back, but a lot of things are pointing in the right direction. We're funded in part by the Virginia Commission of the Arts, and we've gone from the highest level of funding is Tier 1, which we are now. That they see us as a major arts centre. We were on the way to becoming Tier 3 and then possibly totally unfunded. So there's lots of nice signs that the thing is moving back in the right direction, but there's still a long way to go. We're dealing with an infrastructure that's 28 years old, so we need to revitalize that too. So 3 or 4 years will be there, I think. So
I know a couple weeks back you had the Monte Carlo night.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us what exactly that is?
That's our signature fundraiser. As a theatre, when you book performers, when you book plays, you have to put down deposits. And we don't have an endowment, we have no savings. We're really just living off the profit we make from our shows. And that really just covers our expenses. The Monte Carlo evening is really a fundraiser for us. The funds that we raise from that allow us to plan our season and pay the deposits for the performers. So, and again, that's another positive sign. Over the last few years, the funds that we've raised have been dropping away, and this year we set an all-time record for the total amount of funds raised, which is excellent. Again, I think that's another one of the signs that we're on the right track, that the community is rallying around the Kiln and giving it the support it needs.
Okay, so keeping on with the topic of money, can you speak about the role the Kiln plays in the community economically?
Yeah, it's really fascinating because we're part funded by the city, and I have to make a case to the city. And if you look at our patrons, 80% of them come from outside of the 24450 zip code. So we're bringing in like 8,000 people into the community a year. And when you come to the theatre, most people go out to eat dinner before or after the theatre. So there's a metric somewhere that for every dollar we get from government and state funding, we produce $7 that are spent in the locality. And I think that the data proves that we've got 8,000 people a year are coming into Lexington to visit Lime Kiln. So we're one of the major tourist attractions for the Kiln, and we can still get better.
Okay, and last question. You said a lot of people come from outside of Lexington, but can you describe the demographics that you cater to?
It varies an awful lot. If you were to look at Stonewall Country, which is our signature musical piece, that tends to be an older demographic. Our concert series this year opens up with the Carolina Chocolate Drops, and that's bringing a much younger demographic in. So it depends on the performance that's on that week. We're probably tending towards an older age group, but one of my goals is to bring younger people, get you over there for some shows.
Okay. Can you mention a couple more acts that you have lined up? You mentioned the Carolina Chocolate Drops.
Yeah, we've got some really tremendous performers coming this year. We've got there's 2 great bands which are going to be the next big bands out of Virginia, that matching the likes of Dave Matthews. We've got Steel Wheels coming, and they're truly tremendous. They're on May the 27th. And then there's a great band out of Charlottesville called Sons of Bill, and they are extraordinary, incredible musicians. Their lyrics are just incredible, and you wonder how 18-year-olds write lyrics like Hank Williams may have been a lovesick drinker, but being a lovesick drunk don't make you Hank. So I think that's going to bring a younger demographic, particularly from over the Charlottesville area to us, so that's going to be good. And then we have the Mike Seeger Tribute Festival, which is now going back to the old-time music, the music that used to be here when the settlers first came. So, and that takes place in August also.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.